What is going on, guys? Trevor here with the Nitro Mayhem podcast. I'm here with Kenny Lucas. Sorry, I almost said Lewis. Kenny Lucas, driver of Western Warrior. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time, obviously, to come on. We appreciate it. So first off, how you doing?
I am doing very well. Thank you very much for having me. I've never actually been on a podcast before, so it's a first-time experience.
Well, this is my fourth time recording, so we're good.
All right, cool.
Anyway, so first off, kind of like, who are you? What's kind of like what's your main background outside? Of course, we can do outside, of course, the league stuff. We've got questions for that, but just kind of introduce yourself.
So I live out in the desert, hence the theme of my entire truck. I live in Arizona. I currently work at a quick lube shop, doing oil changes and stuff, which is fine. But I'm planning on, moving up on a rung on the totem pole there, getting more experience with like actual mechanic work, and hopefully at some point soon start delving into more high performance stuff.
Right. And I'll say this is a whole question because since you say the high performance stuff, and I just got done obviously doing Nick's interview, since we both went to UNOH, both for automotive high performance. Have you ever considered doing that type of route, going to some type of automotive college, whether it be UTI, WyoTech, UNOH, to try to get that education, or you just want to do the cheap route per se, but go through shops and whatever?
So it's interesting that you say that because I'm actually looking at attending UNOH in the winter this year.
No, fuck yeah.
I went out to Lima, I want to say 2 months ago now, and toured the campus, surveyed the town and all that stuff, and I definitely liked what I saw from them. I also did tour, obviously I have UTI out here in Arizona, and I personally thought UNOH presented themselves better, so yeah, that's likely where I'm going to end up. So.
And a thing that, of course, with that's the difference between the two colleges, obviously, you get a degree from UNOH, you can get a doctrine from that school. I mean, like a good example, John Force, he has a doctrine through the school. So yeah, and then we've got Chris Rubin, who's one of the best instructors at that school. I love that man. He's got a doctrine to the school, and you can do regular business degrees, in media marketing, stuff that's not even automotive related, and you can still do it there. But if you want to do the automotive stuff, obviously there is automotive business marketing and stuff like that. That's actually how what Jamie Sullivan really studied. And her original main degree was auto hypo, and then she went into business marketing for automotive, and then just so happened to be picked up by Feld to drive. So the steps are there. It's just you have to choose what you want to make.
Right. Yeah. And UNOH, in my eyes, it seemed like they were more real about it, if that makes sense. Like UTI, I got the opinion that the education you can get there seemed okay. It seemed like, yes, they have all they need to educate you the way that they want to, but it seemed like that's more so training to get a job less than being educated, which is fine. But, I want to learn how to do stuff. And I felt like that, especially with what they showed me on campus, is kind of what that's about,
Yeah, I mean, UTI is only an 18-month college versus UNOH, it can go stretch out for years. I mean, my time there was 4 years, so because I got a bachelor's, so right. And then with Nick, obviously he got an associate's. Jake, I think he's going for an associate's degree. But enough with UNOH. So that's awesome that you're going to be at UNOH, and I hope you enjoy your time there. So it's a really great place, and I've got advice from the school being there. Same with Nick, that if you want that advice, we're obviously here for you for that. But
right.
So going back on to we'll go with the league stuff. So what got you into things with big wheels, monster trucks? What got you into that?
So monster trucks for me has been basically my entire life. I think I went to my first show when I was 4 at Chase Field, and I was too young to even remember it, but I remember liking it. There's pictures of little baby Kenny with headphones on at Chase Field watching Gravedigger, and I just think ever since then, I've just had this obsession with not monster trucks was a large part of it when I was a kid, but as I've gotten older, it's just bridged into an obsession with loud engines, high horsepower, and high torque, all that stuff, which to me there's no greater example of that than a monster truck. It's like the ultimate version of a performance vehicle, because it not only has 1,500 horses, it jumps 40 feet in the air, it does backflips, it balances, it does all that stuff
while being 5 tons as well. It's like
exactly, it's like the greatest like feat of performance engineering, in my personal opinion.
The most American thing out there.
Exactly. Yes.
Screams
exactly.
bald eagles and pisses excellence. Let's go.
Literally.
I mean, now next that was like with like Top Fuel and like in the drag racing stuff. I mean, that's estimated 10,000 horsepower. We don't even know because
right. And I mean,
can handle that.
We've got Wild Horse Pass out here in Arizona too, so I've been to my fair share of drag strip shows as well.
You've seen 3-second passes and all that, and I've seen them. And I've seen them too at in New England at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So like I've dealt with it too, and I want to get into it, but I don't know, man. That shit's expensive. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
But so with that, what made you decide to do the virtual stuff?
So I think it was. So growing up as a kid, I played Monster Jam Urban Assault. Like that was the first
S-tier
Monster
game,
Jam.
S-tier.
Oh yeah, I loved that game. Like that to me was like I loved like playing a video game of monster trucks. And at the time I knew of rigs of rods. I knew that was a thing, and I saw a lot of videos of rigs of rods. And I barely even had access to a computer. And from what I know now, rigs of rods is really not beginner friendly to set up. Which I don't know, maybe it's changed, but at the time that's the impression I got from it, and so I just was never able to do it. And then I think, actually, I want to say maybe sometime last year I found out about Beam, and I bought Beam, I installed Beam, and the first thing I did was look up how to get monster trucks in BeamNG, because I was like, I knew that was a thing, and I wanted to do it, so that's what got me into it there.
And then since then it's been a ride, and especially for you. I mean, you're out here, you're on a wheel, and like not a lot of people like like a lot of us in the community, we use a controller. Some people use keyboard, but there's very few, a niche market that uses a wheel setup, and you're part of that niche market. So like there's some like a personal question like before you, and I haven't asked these, what made you decide to go the full sim route, wheel, pedal, everything, rather than just using a controller?
So, because I did controller for, I think, the first year or maybe a little more that I had Beam. And I loved it, obviously. It was something to learn. I loved the way the truck's controlled. It felt like I mentioned Urban Assault. Like, Urban Assault was amazing. It's an S-tier game, like you said. But it isn't really a simulator. Like, this was like, it was trying to simulate how the trucks actually behaved. And I loved that. And so my next question to myself was like, how do I take this even further? So I looked into wheel setups, and I bought a wheel and set it all up, got it working, and I was terrible at it. I couldn't keep the truck straight to save the life. Like I couldn't even freestyle because I would just go sideways. But it was cool, and it was immersive, and I loved it. So I just kept sticking with it, and I got better and better at it. And then that was actually... my improvement on wheel was what inspired me to jump into the league side of things, because I knew it existed. I had never really considered doing it, but I was curious. I had like this curiosity of like, okay, I drive only in first person and I only drive on wheel. Is that like a feasible thing to do in a league setting where, it's no hold bar? And so that's what got me into it. And I think I have proven that it is feasible. I'm not like, the greatest driver of all time by any means, but like I'm competitive, which is awesome.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, like you started, the third quarter of the season. So like round 14 was your very first show. And like, and even still, like you did fairly, I mean, I would say you did terrible. Like, but you did, compared to a lot of people, like, just in regular controllers, your first show was fairly well, and it's only improved since then. I mean, like statistically, as we're going through, kind of leading the next questions, but we'll go into like a little bit of stats here. Like your next show going for you to start it with a 19, then instantly got a 31.
Right.
And then a few weeks later, round 19, a 41. So like that's damn near a perfect, that's 9 points off of a perfect overall.
Yep, and the guy I lost it to, I believe, was the guy who won the tour with.
Yep, that'd be Monster.
Like,
which
100 points.
Still, like it's even still like, and you're only 5 points away from that. So like that's for being someone on a wheel, like that's insane. Like here, everyone here over at MTM, and even like with IMS or just I would say anyone in the community knows that like if that hey, this dude on a wheel just almost just took out like one of the best in a tour on a wheel. Like that's a feat. In a rookie we'll say this is your rookie season, right?
Yes, this was my rookie. Yeah, I would call it that. So I did like the last half of Clearwater that was going on at the same time as MTM season 5. So I was doing both. Right. And I did start Clearwater before this, but they were both like side by side my rookie seasons. I had never competed before that. Yeah, ever.
And I said, obviously I don't have the stats for Clearwater, but like I would assume, even like during then, like but obviously like, and we'll talk a little bit of Clearwater too. I mean, you did very well this past season, just reading, from how Clem's been, Clem, the owner, and then like just going through the lore stuff on our channel, like you've done very well. And like it's without a doubt, it's impressive, and it's not, and it surprises me every day because I can do that stuff. Granted, on a wheel I can drift like a madman, but as you said, like I'm like a, I don't know, I'm a lost dog when it comes to like when it comes to driving on beam with the monster truck. I can't do it.
It's challenging sometimes, and I think the one thing that makes it difficult is not even the fact that I'm on a wheel, frankly. It's the first person aspect of it. When you're in third person, you have such a greater sense of awareness of where you are and where the truck is, that when you go into first person, you lose it. You can look at a few of my runs and you'll see times where I'll go for a jump thinking I cleared a pod or cleared something, and the back end of the truck will clip it and send me forward. And it's because like I did not know that was there. I hit the jump and I was just like, I don't know what's underneath me.
And like and with time, obviously, like I think, and even was it Tyler Menega like said that with like rigs, over time, he said you'll have spatial awareness of like right. Where the rear end is. It's like driving a car normal day, like where the front and rear end of your car is because it's your car. Same goes with here though. Yeah. So with time you're gonna get used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that though, so obviously we skipped a bunch of questions, but we're continuing on with the season. For being starting in in Q3, how with late being a season, how well did you think you did as a driver?
So comparing my whole season, I came in really late, like you said, Q3 of the season. I kind of went into MTM with very, very tame expectations. I kind of wanted to get Western Warrior out there and be like, hey, this is my custom. Hey, I do this all on wheel. That's kind of cool. And, have fun with it, whatever. And just kind of figure out what the tour was about, which you can, if you watch, like you mentioned my improvement in the points, I figured out more and more, like it was less, I had to be a little less tame, a little less careful, and just kind of take risks more, which I did better at. But personally, I am extremely satisfied with the way my season went. I think I ended the tour in 12th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right under Nick.
Right under Nick, yes. And I was gunning to take his spot. I really wanted to pass him up, but I think I had one or two, missteps in the last few events.
And the point difference was, I think it was like around the 50 range. But even still, like that could be, that's not a terrible gap. It's not like the gap between, with Z Gold and Monster, 88 points. So, or even like a big one being, Grim and Jake. Right. Or something like that. But like, yeah, but no, like statistically, I mean, I said statistically, you still did fairly well with a 20 driver field. We'll say, right, yeah. We'll say 20 because I mean, it says 19, but I mean, we've had a few people go in and out, whatever. Average numbers 20. So.
Right.
Now.
So yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're okay. So with the event standings and stuff like that, obviously with the tour's over. So like, what are your plans, for next season?
So next season, my plan is like I succeeded in my goals for season 5, which was make that impression, do my best, you know, kind of get to know people and, you know, get my name out there. And I feel like I succeeded in that. Now I'm kind of going for broke. Like, I've been practicing a lot. I really want to finish high in the standings because you mentioned Clearwater. Like, that was, I did not expect that going into my first full season of any league. I didn't know what to expect. That really boosted my confidence level. So my plans for next season are, I feel like, you know, and you know, I won underdog award at the grand finals, and I feel like that kind of still applies. I feel like I still kind of have that underdog feel to me, where, you know, I go out there, people are like, he can win. If it goes well, he can definitely do it. They may not expect it, and I kind of want to make it seem like, okay, no, he can. He's a fucking hard hitter. He's gonna go out there. He's gonna put up a number. So yeah, I want to take it a step further.
Yeah, as we always want to see improvement, and like whether it be within yourself or, you know, as, you know, someone that helped run the league that's, you know, going to step down and do the media stuff. Like, we always love seeing people, you know, like you, or even like some of the other people, you know, like Jack the Fourth. You know, obviously, you know, I didn't know anything about him, but he placed well. You know, Aceman, NS, Cameron, like those guys, you know, they're a lot. We've had an insane amount of rookies this season, and they all placed super well. You know, so like the evolution of the new drivers is wild, you know, and it's, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, with the top, you know, 6, you know, me being, you know, at the bottom of the 6, but like, obviously, you know, like it kind of makes sense to see, you know, someone, you know, people with, you know, with that experience, you know, being up there. But then you got Z-Gold, you know, rookie season being number 2, like that's wild. That's crazy. And I would love, and like, so like with seeing stuff like that, it gives us as people that run it, you know, hope that these new drivers can take out the vets, because then it doesn't seem like that it's rigged.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I will say this: I only have ever won 2 competitions in my time competing in BMP leagues, but the 2 times I did, the people I beat out were top dogs. Like, specifically in MTM, my 1 competition win from season 5 was a bye week. And it was in an arena.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, and the lineup was not an easy lineup. It was you, Grim, Jake, Z-Gold, and me, I believe. There was a 6-truck field. Yep, and yeah, that was actually when Helios debuted. I remember that. And so I went into that lineup, and I took a skills win, which I walked out like, how the hell did I pull that off? I did not think that was going to happen. So, it happened. It did, and I was like, that was like one of the highlights of the season for me. Was I went into a stacked lineup with like basically the top 6 on the tour, or top 5, and I took a win off of that. Yeah, it's awesome to see that. I love seeing that, and I hope to continue to see that. So now with that, obviously, now with the season, you know, with our season being over, and we have a decent amount of downtime. We have a few months. We have until like October. So, what are we doing with the off time? How are we treating it? So I have been competing in IMS pretty regularly. Yeah. Obviously, you mentioned again Clearwater. I was at Clearwater season 5. That's just about wrapping up right now. And so I've been staying active. I've been staying practiced. I've been staying, you know, savvy, and I've been practicing even in single player, because I feel like I have a general grasp on the basics of driving the trucks now, to the point where I can just kind of, I don't have to worry about keeping it under control or keeping it straight. Like, if I want to line up for something and hit it, I will hit it. Right. Right now, and this is especially important for MTM, it's the wow factor. It's the crazy stuff. You know, the nut stuff that you see people pulling off that just like blows your mind. And I've started pulling off some of that stuff in my spare time. I've been pulling off some pretty crazy maneuvers. There's a lot you can get away with if you keep the truck off the cage. And that is a lot harder to do on a wheel, but it is doable, and I have done it. And I'm hoping that in the next season, I'll be able to show some of that off. So I'm definitely gearing up to try to, go all out on that.
Yeah, you're throwing punches and we're getting hit by them. And I'm excited to see it. Now, obviously, it depends on the tour that you're going to be on. Obviously, like for me, like I don't know exactly what tour I'm on, especially with my work schedule. Like, would it be cool to have a space themed truck on the space theme tour? Yes, 100%. But we'll see. And,
Right.
Now, which tour do you plan on being on? Because obviously we have Interstellar, we have I don't even remember the names now. Fuck, I know we have also we have a Friday, we have 2 tours on Saturdays, a Friday, and I think a Sunday. I think we have 4 tours going on.
I believe so, and I am currently only planning on being on Interstellar. Saturday is kind of the only day that really works for me. Saturday afternoon in particular, so I could maybe make international work, but it would be difficult. So I'm pretty much planning on being on Interstellar.
All right, and you'll be going against some heavy hitters, like not to really spoil anyone, but obviously Jake is that's going to be his tour. Austin's going to be moving over to that tour. We have I think Prawn's going to be moving over to there, and then obviously Monster is still going to be on the same tour. I think Zegold's going to be on there. Like a lot of the normals from Purple are still going to be on that tour because Saturdays, that's just what we did.
Right.
Yeah, for me, obviously, like I'm not going to be Sundays is going to be my best bet. Like I get off at 3:00 on Sundays, so unlike today, obviously I worked till 6 because I had to teach a class. But it is what it is. But obviously I'll be missing out on the fun with you guys. But now I get to see new competition that because I've been around with with the Purple Tour guys for 2 seasons now. I know how they work, so it'll be a nice refresher to see how the other tour competes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, we skipped over a whole thing about your truck. You're talking about Western Warrior. So what made you decide, make a truck called Western Warrior, and kind of what's the meaning behind that truck?
So the interesting story about what inspired me to even start working on it is it was actually its theme song. So Knights of Sidonia by Muse. I heard that song for the first time, and then I loved it. I listened to it again, and I thought this would make a badass theme song for a monster truck about cowboys. And so then I was like, and that was like roughly around the time I got Beat, and I knew you could make customs, so I started looking into it. I found CRD EC skins. I found I think it was Game Boy's tutorial on it, and I made a terrible looking 2003 Chevy Silverado body with flames on the side and Western Warrior on the back because I came up with the name. I was trying to think of names that clicked, and to me that clicked perfectly. It was oh my god, it has a nice ring to it. It fits the name. It fits the song. It's great. And yeah. We don't have to put a picture of it, but if you want to have the whole you can show it. It was one of the things I said.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to show it. I'm not ashamed of it.
And then now of course we're on to and now we're on to the 5th anniversary of the truck. So kind of going on with obviously it's evolved. Obviously I've been the one helping out doing, of course, the PBR stuff, making that thing shine, or in some cases, making it dull. And it's been a pleasure working on that. It's one of my favorites. Every truck on the field I really love. There's not a truck out there that I don't necessarily hate. But but yours sticks out so much. I love the design of it. It's very smooth. It almost looks hand drawn almost, and it's got a very good theme behind it.
So, and it's been a long time coming to where it's at now. I did send. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, yep.
Good. We're good now.
All right. So anyway, with Western Warrior, obviously we're on the with Evolution.
So yeah, it's been a long time coming to get to the whole look of it now. So, like I said, it started out as a Silverado. It stayed a Silverado for basically 4 of the years it existed. It was always a Silverado. It changed to a newer one later down the line at some point. But I think eventually the reason I settled on the Escalade is because I randomly made a one-off Escalade based on the first design, and it actually looked really good. It fit the truck well. And eventually I had just kind of run out of ideas for the Silverado, and I thought, screw it, I'll try an Escalade. And that was what came up with the first iteration of the design we have now, which is what I debuted at MTM in round 14. And even then, over the course of the season, it evolved because I added little things to it. There should be a picture of the first competition version of it. Mm-hmm. And you can tell there's a lot that's kind of missing compared to now. And obviously, you did the PBR textures. it has underglow on it now, and it's like all this cool stuff. And now I feel like it's the most complete it has ever been.
Yeah, and it's just gonna continue to evolve. I mean, that's kind of like with my truck. I mean, it started off with a bang. Like, obviously, you weren't around when the original Haze came out. I mean, like, which it's weird because this season we went back to the roots of the truck, like the whole meaning of it, not just from being an RC truck to now it's like a personal meaning. And then like, right. But the first season I ran with that truck, it was on a Kaiser. You know, I told Squid like, hey, like this is the name of the truck, go wild on it, but it needs to be on the Kaiser. And it became this super grungy like skull on the hood with, you know, with purple like fog and all that. And then and from there, you know, and it had a meaning of, or that truck had the meaning of, you know, with drug overdose. And then every truck I have has got something to do with some either a mental illness or some mental thing. I'm a huge advocate for that. And then like, and so with the one that was throughout this season, the Ram Charger, we went back to the roots, made it simple, made it a show truck, made it and it debuted actually, I think it was I can't remember, it made its debut actually in a DSL off event, a MJ Sim event. It was, and like I'm doing it since I'm going on, it was an MJ Sim event. We did World Finals, I think it was World Finals 12, right? And you know, we did the event as, you know, we picked our trucks, whatever. But at the last freestyle of the night, you know, it's like fuck, you know, it's, you know, the anniversary of, you know, of not dad's passing. You know, it was, you know, it was the anniversary of my father's passing. But you know, I want this truck to come out then. It means so goddamn much to me. Not just because it was his dream truck, but now it's like fuck it, we're gonna do it. And since then, you know, we've evolved as you've seen throughout the season. You know, it went from being just a plain purple truck to now it looked like a goddamn Volvo for some reason. It went to a Kaiser again by H3, which did an insane job on that truck. And then we went to Keith with the final competition, which was, I think, probably one of the best design I think it's ever been on that truck. To now my custom to a evolution version of a more of like a Japanese D1 spec, which I'm continuously going to be working on. I'm going to probably do crap on it, but whatever. Right. But that's enough about me. So with Western Warrior, so now what's the plans with that truck? Obviously, you know, we dabbled a little bit, you know, pre-recording, you know, about the future of the truck. Obviously, you know, we were on an anniversary, so I'm assuming you and me both know we have a special body coming up for the anniversary.
Yeah, so I feel like every time I say that, every time I've said it in here, people have kind of done a double take, because a lot of the trucks that I feel like are staples here, I feel like Western Warrior is actually older than most of them. Like Western Warrior is going to be 5 years old.
Yeah, it's one of the older trucks, yeah.
It is, and it's crazy that it's been around for such a short time, but it has such history to it, and I'm happy that I've shared it. But yes, we do have a special body for it coming up. Not to give anything away, it's really Gravedigger 20th anniversary vibes. Yeah, like and that's where the inspiration was drawn, and it looks really, really nice. And I'm not gonna probably be running it next season because I don't think we'll hit 2025 next season. If we do, it will debut next season.
If the cards land right, I think we'll be ending right around Christmas. So you could almost say, like, I think as like a finals body, we could probably do something like that.
Right. Yeah, I might do that, and then it'll make like a full-time competition debut the following season.
And then there's also another body that that I'll be working on as well. That's gonna be kind of an inverse of what we've already seen, right?
Yes.
Which I'm excited to work on that as well.
That is one of the recent schemes I did. You know, I actually, that was the first game I made after the finals body, the midnight body, which that one turned out so well. I was like, I want to do another one. And I was thinking about concepts I hadn't tried yet. And this one turned out, it is so clean. It looks so nice. I'm really excited for it to be done. And even then, while you're working on that, I've actually debuted a couple of one-off designs of my own. Over in IMS this past week, I debuted a Chevy K10 body on it that looked really good.
And I wish I was able to attend, but you know, when a boy's gonna make $1,200 in 2 hours, I mean.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
I really wanted to compete and see that, but you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, that event didn't go too great for me anyway, so
whatever.
It happens.
Yeah, the eye candy would have been nice though.
Oh yeah, and then I actually recently unveiled a body that I made on a old, I believe it was a It was an old F250 body. I believe it's a 87 F250. And it's actually themed around the team that I joined at post-finals, Z-Gold's Molten Metal Shop.
Yep.
And I'm planning on that kind of being like the steps overboard equivalent to Western Warrior, where like I'm really only probably going to run it at shows in California, which I believe is where the team is supposed to be based out of.
Yeah.
So it'll be like exclusive to that, which I think is cool to have like a one-off body used for special events.
Yeah,
so.
like that's what I did with like the Volvo body. Like I only ran that for Detroit. Obviously, that's being like where I reside now. It's not my hometown. Obviously, there's no Monster Jam that happens in my hometown. It's bumfuck nowhere, Vermont. But like, so like anywhere that I'm currently living, that's gonna be my home show. So like, I'm with you there. You know, it's always nice. You know, if it's your home show, you might as well go all out. I mean, Jim Kohler did it with with driving in Detroit. You know, he had a whole Lions theme on Avenger, and then Chris brought out Northern Nightmare because we're a stone throw away from the Canadian border. So
right, yeah, exactly, and that was amazing when that happened. It was incredible.
It was great to see in person too. Y'all missed out.
I definitely did.
But okay, so with the virtual stuff side, you know, where do you see yourself, you know, with continuing the virtual side of stuff?
So I want to continue to, you know, obviously evolve as a competitor. You know, one of the things I want to do next season, I want to rack up some more wins. I've got 2 to my name right now, 1 in MTM and 1 in Clearwater. In fact, the only competition I am missing a win in right now is racing, which, you know, fingers crossed. I'm not the best racer, but I've made the finals a couple times before last season, so it's definitely possible.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And yeah, but in terms of where I see myself, I honestly also kind of want to try to, you know, lend a hand more and help run stuff because, you know, I feel like I personally feel like I have a good idea of, you know, what's right, what's wrong, you know, like how things need to be run. Like when I'm sitting there being part of this and like watching what the admins need to do, I'm like I feel like I could do a pretty good job at that. And, you know, like help is always good in my eyes.
There's a potential of having that. Like I've said in the previous episode, you know, like, and I'm making a public announcement now. Just it's like, so I might as well make it public. You know, like I'm going to step down. Like I'm kind of like the whole running thing. It was cool and all, but like I'm kind of over it unnecessarily. But I still want to do like the social media stuff like I'm doing now. Like I enjoy this a little bit more a lot more actually than, you know, helping run the events, because there's so much on your shoulders as being an admin, not just with helping run the events, but on the back side of things, like making sure, you know, rules are set, you know, and then if any drama happens, we have to make sure it simmers down and stuff like that and neutralize, you know, the problem.
Right.
And then then you're also responsible for people, you know, that will complain, and, you know, you have to be a spokesperson essentially. And it's like, oh, I don't remember really signing up for this, but, you know, here we go. So there's a lot to it. And like, I can definitely agree with you there. I think you'd be a great fit as, honestly, probably the replacement for me. I mean, I'm still going to be involved, but just not doing the big admin stuff. So
right.
But
I would love to step up. So
yeah, I mean, I'll mention
put my name in the hat.
The name will be in the hat for sure. Now, the virtual stuff is cool, but like, you know, because now you're gonna step your foot out, you know, start work, you know, try to get, you know, go to UNH, start to do the IRL stuff. Do you see yourself, you know, driving a truck, you know, being some type of, either be part of Monster Jam or just in the industry itself? And if so, like, what would you prefer? Like, do you want to drive your own identity, or you want to at least just drive something?
Yeah, I would drive anything. You could hand me the keys to any monster truck, any tour, any promotion. I don't care. I would do it. Like, it's been my dream. Like I said, I've been following this since I was 4, and it's never swayed. I've always wanted to be this. Now, obviously, as a kid, you know, you have, you know, unrealistic expectations for the future. So it was Gravedigger or bust back then. Obviously, I've opened my mind quite a bit since then. I honestly think I would prefer to do the independent side of things. It seems more liberating. Obviously, Monster Jam is, as they say, as big as it gets. And if you told me, hey, we need a driver for fucking Megalodon this weekend, do it, I would not bat an eye. I would do it. But to be a part of like a team, it feels like a more closely knit community. And, you know, obviously, it's your identity. You know, it's not you're driving for a company, it's yours. You work on the truck, you change the parts. You know, you drive the hauler, and I want to be part of the industry in some facet, some way, shape, or form. Whether I end up driving or not one day, I can't say. I'm sure most people would love to do that. That's what everyone wants to do with monster trucks, because why wouldn't you?
Right.
But I mean, obviously, there's only so many trucks that need a driver in the world, and they're not just going to grab any random Joe to go do it. So obviously, I would love to one day. I don't want to act like my Beam experience would give me any sort of advantage. It likely wouldn't, because being on a computer is a whole different thing from sitting in the actual thing. So, this is just something I love doing, and I love being immersed in it. I don't hold any illusions that because I do this, I'm more qualified to drive than, Joe Schmo or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you look at drivers like Tyler Meninga, and I've mentioned it last time. He's done his stuff from Rigs or Rods. John Zimmer Jr. I mean, hell, one of our competitors, Austin, raced side by side with him during the Rigs days. So and look at him now. I mean, look at even IMS. We just had someone in that tour do his first event and win.
Yeah, I saw that. It was insane.
So it's not that, the aspirations are there. So it's crazy. So in my opinion, having the experience on BeamNG, Rigs or Rods, whatever, any type of experience to where you know how to control something is better than anything. And the big thing that Nick mentioned with his episode is that, they, at least with Monster Jam, and this was a tip he said, driving experience is definitely, cool. You know how to drive. But it's also they looked at because he said he had his chance. He said, and when you listen to the episode, like I said, he had his chance with Feld, but they said things didn't line up. But they look for people that can talk. They looked at it and say, if you can work a mic, then that's gonna be even better, because you're an entertainer. You're not just gonna entertain with just your truck.
Right.
You gotta be an entertaining person. You gotta have a personality. It's a lot like the original driver from Mohawk Warrior, right? Or not even, or even George Bellham, he had a personality.
Oh yeah, he was a huge personality. The whole Mohawk, the couch at the pit party, everything.
The rock star person, yeah. They look at people like that, and then if you can drive, that's even a plus. So
right.
Now, of course, talking. I mean, we'll say it all depends. I mean, and as you say, and you're and that kind of led to my next question: what would you want to do? But you kind of said you don't care, as long as you're in the motorsport, and that's I think what a lot of people should have expectations. Obviously, shoot for the moon for a driver, but at the end of the day, if you're just shining tires on a truck, you're still in the industry.
Yeah, if I'm pressure washing the mud off of Kraken's tires after Jacksonville, then I'm in the industry. I'm happy. I'm not gonna complain. I'll still have my aspirations, but I'm not gonna be upset with where I end up. Because if you're in monster trucks, you're in monster trucks.
Exactly, and then and that's every little boy and girl's dream, especially if they're into this stuff, is you're there. You're not in the stands. You're part of it. So, well, with that being said, I kind of just I don't really know what to go off now, because I want to continue talking, but now it's just finding shit. It's with Nick, because Nick's episode lasted 45 fucking minutes. So but it was kind of because of course me and him, of course, we've known each other for so long, and we had the UNOH experience. So good. I think I brought up Jamie Sullivan, but and that was a big thing. When we found out, especially someone that I had class with, or even Shelby Fisher, crew chief for Thunder Roars. I've been in classes with both of them.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
Both, and so in seeing that, from being somebody that was just in a classroom, getting yelled at by some instructor, right, to now actually driving, or even being a world champion, being a champion during their first weekend it's insane, and it puts the proof out there that that anybody can do it.
Right. And that's my hopes and dreams right there. I mean, I don't like I said, I don't really care where I end up in it. If I end up getting noticed somehow, and that's my goal, I'll be happy. Yeah, I mean, and it's not just and Nick said this so well, and this is why I love that man too. To a brother love is that and even Bryce Kennedy said this before, it's not, nothing's just gonna fall into your hands, and if it does, cool, but if you want something, you work for it.
Like,
exactly.
it's like you got to make sure you do what you can, do anything that you can, whether it be if you're going out and doing a show every weekend. Because at UNOH, I mean, your end of the week is a Thursday, so you could fly out. Now, if you have a morning class, you could fly out right after your class, go to like Florida, do a show, come back.
Yep.
And if you're part of the motorsports team, which I think that's part of the requisitions to be the Monster Jam, or you can just do Monster Jam itself. You don't have to be part of the dirt car team. But Jamie was part of the dirt car team. She was I believe crew chief for a little bit. For the
right, and I'm planning on at some point being on their dirt car team or volunteering.
It's a big thing, like, because you had like not only is like it's a commitment, like it's almost like a secondary job. So
I would imagine, yeah.
As I was roommates with someone that was on the motorsports team, and it was wild. And of course they weren't on the dirt team. The motorsports team is like you signed up with ARCA. So like, depending on the team you got hooked up with, it was like, okay, either we'll pay for your share, you pay for your fuel, or you have to bring yourself there. It kind of all depends. Yeah. With the dirt team, you're doing Lima Land. That's it.
So you're still in Lima Land. So
like, you're there, you're in Lima. Like, you're doing one track and it's not that good. it's not that good. And Jake can attest to it. Nick can attest to it. Like, anybody at UNOH, even like if somehow you had connections with Freddie, he would say the same thing as Freddie went to UNOH. He would say, yeah, the track sucks.
Yeah, I saw it. It did not impress. It's
a fun track to watch, but it's only fun when the sprints are there. Like, the mods are fun, they're kind of cool. The Thunder stocks are just stock small block Chevys. Like that they're boring.
Yeah.
But we don't do that. I mean, they don't do 410s there. I think it's like they do 360s. I think 360 sprints, winged or wingless, and like that's where the fun is. Because it's close racing there. It's a fun track, but it's nothing like Eldora though. Which if you got to go Eldora while you're there. I mean, hell, the King's Royals this weekend, so. Which, I don't know, if you want to go to the King's Royal, go for it. It's only $1 million win.
That would be nice. That could set one up nicely.
Oh yeah, it's a full. Well, it's $1 million. Well, it's not the mil. So it's true. It's like they have the million, which is like a guaranteed million, and like plus sponsor money, whatever. This one, it's upwards of $1 million depending on whatever. But the big thing at the King's Royal is it's 50-50. Like last time when I went, somebody went home with $500,000.
Jesus.
Untaxed. Like there was a written check. Boom.
Wow.
$500,000.
That's fucking crazy. That's more money than I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, like it's some random motherfucker won $1 million or won $500,000 just in the 50-50. So go to that track if you can. And then like there's also a few events too, not just within Lima too, that like I would definitely recommend. Like I don't know if the Jamboree still happens. The last time I remember happening is when I crewed for Mike Vaughters. And that was like 2018, I believe, if I remember. And like that was the last year I remember.
I'm not sure if it still happens. I don't remember anyone mentioning it to me during my tour, because I did obviously mention the whole monster truck side of it as to why I was there.
Yeah, I mean, and then of course you got to see obviously some really like important chassis at the school. You saw Charlie Pawkins' World Finals winning chassis that sits there.
That's what that is.
Yeah,
that's
the monster.
one?
That is Charlie's winning chassis.
That's nuts. I didn't know that. I knew it was an old chassis.
Yeah, nope. That's a Gravedigger underneath there. And then as for the stunt truck, that's Brodozer.
Yep, I remember looking at it and thinking that's really cool. And then I looked at the motor and I thought, that is not a Merlin.
That is a Duramax. that's a Duramax.
And I was like, holy shit, this is Brodozer. I was like, that's where this thing's been hiding.
Yeah, and occasionally, they obviously that school they get a bunch of like we've had Max D, we had Adam's Gravedigger, we've had Stabilizer there, Eventually, I would love for them to do a little demo on the drift pad.
Oh, that would be so cool.
But I don't know how they would do it. So, I mean, there's more than enough room there. I mean, obviously the one person I would trust there would be Ryan Anderson.
Of course.
I mean, he's done small areas. Look at Hoonigan.
Yeah, he did Hoonigan. Yeah, exactly.
Insert clip of Lotus when you get the chance. Insert the clip of Ryan doing cool shit at the burn yard. But like, it's just that I wish they would do that, or go up or send a truck up the off-road hill. I know the president of the off-road club wouldn't necessarily like that, but whatever.
You could also tell people like, hey, a monster truck climbed this.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Marketing, people, marketing.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, big picture.
Yeah, it's like if you don't want to go to UNOH, well, how about this? Oh, I don't know. Fucking Gravedigger climbed that. Huh? It's gonna be a great school though. It's listen, I enjoyed my time there. There is a lot of things that they say that they don't say, of course, while you're there, because also they're selling it to you like a business. I mean, there is real stuff that at that school that off podcast, me, Nick, and Jake can tell you. Especially me, like I worked with the school when I was there, so I had to do all the the scripty type stuff.
Oh yeah, I figured, and like when I go to tour anything, like they're gonna try to sell it to you, like they have to.
Yeah.
That's
just
part of it.
I mean, even then when they had a representative come out to my high school in Vermont, like they had a rep come out. And they sold to me all right. And even then, like I figured out real quick, there's things, of course, they try to hide. But I mean, that's just how it is, though. I mean, because every place has got its flaws. Some worse than others. Sure. I mean, like you could be like a school like Wyotech that went bankrupt, and then because like I was approved for that UNOH and an MMI for motorcycles, and said UNOH was the only one that was close, so.
Right.
And for you, like obviously, you've got there's a UTI right there, or and Wyotech is back up, so you could go to Wyotech if you wanted to, but why would you?
Yeah.
Right. Well, again, their degree, their diploma, like you're not getting shit out of there. It's you get a job. Where?
Yeah, that's kind of the reason I didn't like UTIs. Like you're gonna get a job with somebody.
And like And then UNOH though, it's like it paves such a good path for every for a lot of motorsport, like whether it be like drag racing, circle track, Formula Drift, Monster Jam, like Formula Drift being the newest one, which a lot of people are going to that school now.
Oh yeah, no, I figured when they mentioned Formula Drift, I was like, I know a lot of people back home that would be really.
I was really good friends with the people that set that up. Jack Roush, who works for Texas Drift Academy now. Like, and then like I've got my boy Jackie, he's crew chief for Chris Forsberg now. So like they went from drifting shitty BMWs to working in that industry. There's potential. That
was the vibe. That was the main vibe I got from the school. Is like there's potential to grow there. And
there's a lot of growth. It's just and it's not spoon fed to you.
No.
It's you if you want to do it. Fine, they say we'll help you, but you're gonna be the one really trying to push for it. And like a lot, that's a lot of kids going into there. Like they don't expect that. There's a lot you'll notice in your first class. There's gonna be a lot of new kids. Like you're probably gonna be like if you're gonna go with the auto hypo program, like your first class is probably gonna be E&E or brakes. So like for or it could be accessory trends, but like you'll see people drop out within the first week.
Oh, I would imagine.
Because they don't realize how much it takes. They get so, I wouldn't say tricked, but they think that's easy.
Yeah, that's the big, I feel like, common misconception with any trade school is that when people go think trade school, they think, oh, it's easier than college because you don't have to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, no. It's not easy. Like it's still work. You still have to learn, and you still have to want to learn it. And they're gonna drop a lot of shit on you. And if you're not ready, you're gonna crumble.
Yeah, so. and being someone with the instructors aren't gonna give you the answers straight up. There's a lot of instructors that will teach you once, and that is it. If you didn't pay attention, well.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. Like you're there for what 6. You're there for what 6 weeks at a time,
like 6
for
weeks.
Each class. So 6 weeks, they don't have time to do it over again. So you're gonna learn.
There's a lot of classes where you can't. One of them being fab. That should be a 12-week program, 100%.
Yeah,
But instead,
fab is insanely difficult. The fact that they stuff it down to 6 weeks is nuts.
like you're learning how to take obviously there is like hypo welding where you learn how to TIG weld, but now it's like, oh shit, now I gotta learn how to do everything else in fabrication.
Yeah.
Like you mess with aluminum and welding, but now you kind of mess with it. But it's like, okay, now you're gonna take an oxy torch and you're gonna try to weld. They don't teach you how to use an oxy torch in regular welding.
Yeah, no.
They do English wheel in fab too, but nobody does English wheel anymore. But they teach it to you.
Yeah.
And like steering and suspension, they miss a lot of stuff that would make sense and that was a big complaint I had was there were some classes where they couldn't fit in. There was stuff that made sense that would pair well. Like a big like suspension was one of the classes like I aced in. I got a 99 in that class. So like when it comes to suspension, I know it. And a big thing is that like, well, why aren't we talking about aero? Aero plays such a huge factor in suspension setup. So, and like, oh, we don't have the time for it. And I'm like, well, then it's like, we were talking about fucking drag race. You know, you talk about drag racing and circle track. And like, you barely touch on cantilever suspension. That's used in like Indy cars, off-road, even, you know, whatever. Like, or even then like, oh, well, now we have this modified that's, you know, from the 70s. You spend too much time on that. It's like, you need to tell these guys, okay, let's add some aero to it and see how the suspension reacts to it. All it takes is a piece of plexiglass. A 1-inch fucking wing on the back is what is going to make all the difference. But
yep.
It's like I said, it's little things like that in school. It's like you really think it's like I'm paying X amount of money and then I didn't teach me that? That's kind of
right.
It's all in the instructor though. Some will take it, you know, that and they'll be like, okay, we'll do it. If you mention it, then they will. A big instructor was like that, and may he rest in peace, was Mike Stryker. You know, the USAC midget champion. Fucking, he was a massive fab guy. If you had a question that wasn't even in the class, like involved with it, he would answer it right then and there. Like manual transmissions. I was talking about, you know, hey, you know, how does, you know, with the Quattro system and STI system, you know, like he's like, well, we'll talk about that with the hypo, you know, stuff, but we'll talk about it right now. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, like,
ask your questions no matter what.
That's one of the things I want to go in there and do is like I don't want to be the student that just is there to get a grade and then leave. It's like I feel like that would just be a waste of my time. Because,
it's a waste of time and money.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go there to learn. I want to go there to figure how to do this shit.
And then like some instructors, they're very like head on. They're very what's the word? Stern, we'll say. You know, so like. Actually, one of them, his name is Mr. Stern. He did brakes, but like they're very one-trick pony. Like they only have one way of doing things. And they're not gonna, and they don't necessarily help. Which is, I mean, in some cases, yeah. I mean, you want to learn, and sometimes fucking up is learning. But at the same time, it's like, well, what about the other classes that looked on these cars? Like I could be working on, you know, Dingle Bob's fucking shit from, you know, the afternoon class, and you're in the evening class. Now you gotta fix his fuck up on trying to learn how to do it. It's like, what? Because the training aids there, you never know when. But you'll learn that in the college. But no, I'm glad I'm glad, you know, obviously seeing, you know, someone that's actually, you know, going from the virtual stuff, you know, and then like touring the school, and then, you know, now it's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Because I love seeing kind of like success stories like that.
Yeah, and hopefully
it comes true, right?
Hopefully, yeah, that's the plan.
And then you also be annoying Jake while you're there too. So.
Yeah, for a little bit. It sounds like he's planning to graduate in the summer, so it'll be.
Oh yeah, so he's almost done. So. He started before I just left. I've only been in Michigan for about a year, so, and he was, I think he was within his first session when I left. So first or second session, I believe. He was first session actually. Fuck, man. He's going by quick. I didn't realize he was there.
That is good. That is going by quick.
It's fast.
That's fast.
And then even still though, I still think, you know, like, and even then, like, don't, like, if add on other programs too that you think is going to be beneficial. Like, yeah, I signed up for, you know, mainly high performance, but the automotive spec, you know, you're going to have to learn some of that. And then, but there's also like, well, what about the future of motorsport?
Right.
So like a class I recommend that you add is going to be alternate fuels. And hell, as much as I don't like it, EV is being pushed into the future, and a lot of motorsport is going into it. So it wouldn't hurt to add the EV program as well. Just so that way you have that knowledge of like, okay, if motorsport goes to the factor where we have to do electric, you already know that stuff.
Oh yeah, no, that's
like,
definitely something I was looking into.
And then alt fuels is a big thing too. Like you learn how to make biofuel. You learn about hybrid technology. You learn about synthetic fuels and stuff like that. Like that was one of my favorite classes, and it's a 12-week It's only a 12-week program.
Yeah, there's also that, and I'm planning on getting my CDL while I'm there as well.
Yeah, and the CDL program is cheap. It is so cheap. I think it's like $2,000 or something.
That is insanely cheap. Damn.
And I think it's like $2,000 or $3,000. I haven't looked into it. I was gonna take it, but I never did. I should have gotten it, but would I be using it now? I don't know. I sell detail. No, because I went from wanting to work on race cars to I sell chemicals. So you see what I did with my $70,000, but
yeah, I mean it is what it is. If you like what you do, how bad can it be?
Yeah, I mean, I have my dream car at 25, so I mean, I can't complain.
Well, yeah, I know a lot of people can't say that.
No. I'm going through my midlife crisis. It is what it is. Well, anyway, it's great having you on the podcast. I would love, again, for a future episode, talk about not just, continue to ramble about bullshit, maybe even, throughout the season, next season, talk about, the same stuff, how the season's going, obviously, because things change, right? So
right.
Hopefully, we're on the same tour. I would love to compete with you again. It was a blast.
Yeah, I think I raced you more than I raced anyone else. I think I raced you 3 times.
Yeah. And it was a blast. So
it was.
So hopefully I'm on the same tour next season. If not, I'm gonna see you at finals because I've been every time I've competed, I've always gotten an invite. My debut season, I got an invite, and then since then I've been invited by this is my first time I think competing in one. So, because I think it was my first season 2 one. I was in Gatlinburg. Season 3 I was sick, I think, and I just kind of got out of bed. But whatever. Regardless. Appreciate you coming on. Like we said, we love you here at MTM, and we hope to see, we love to see you grow and, be our signature wheelman. So.
Oh yeah.
With that being said, With that being said, guys, thank you all for listening on in for the past hour. This is going to be the longest episode we've had, but thank you all for listening. If you guys want any certain driver to come on in, leave it down below, or any certain topic, we'll do it. That being said, see you all in the next one. Peace.